Engin has responded to Devon and he has denied most of the allegations and accusations put on him by Devon Larrett. He also revealed some new information in that video, which we are going to discuss soon. But before that, let's hear this clip from Engin's response video.
And then next day at the hotel lobby, in front of everyone, out of nowhere, he came and he was like, "Fuck you, Engin." He hit it like this out of nowhere. And then I said, "Fuck you, motherfucker." And then
So, as per Engin, Devon said this to Engin while showing him the middle finger. And I don't think Devon is going to deny this either because in his own video, Devon did say that yes, a day after the Petrenko versus Devon match, or a day after the Morozov versus Devon scuffle, Engin versus Devon scuffle that happened at that event, Devon did crash out at Engin in the lobby. So I think this information is true. So whatever happened has happened, but despite that, to me it looks like there is nothing serious between these guys. They can still figure it out. I'm not talking about East versus West working perfectly, but at least their personal issues. I don't see anything that serious between them. But Engin did accuse Devon of something which we have never heard of before. I personally knew about it from some private conversations, but this information I don't think it was public anywhere. So Engin was saying that at one of the event where Dennis was there and Devon was there, maybe Dennis and Devon had to arm wrestle each other. Devon asked Engin for a pistol. Maybe he wanted to do something against Babkan. Maybe he wanted to defend himself against Babkan if Babkan tries something weird. So Engin's response was, "I cannot do that. I've asked Babkan. He's not planning to do anything. But if you still don't trust that, then I can maybe arrange the state police for you. They'll protect you." But Dan still was like, "No, I want a pistol." But then Engin said that later that same day, Devon himself went into the room where Dennis was giving an interview and Babkin was sitting with his son and he started provoking them. We saw that how Devon approached Dennis. Babkin stood up initially, but then Devon started saying something and the things got a little bit weird between them. So if Devon was really fearing for his life, why did he go into that room? Why did he need a pistol if he was brave enough to go into that room without having a pistol in his hand? So all of this is weird. It's up to the interpretations whether Devon's life was genuinely threatened or whether Devon was just misinformed through an email. I think the second one is true. So, anyways, Engin talked about a lot of things which he has already talked about, like Devon tried to convince Robert Baxter that King of the Table is more profitable, a better organization than East versus West, and he shouldn't be buying East versus West. Instead, he should be putting up his money for King of the Table to purchase that. But now we know that King of the Table wasn't doing well, and Engin showed that to Robert Baxter by showing him the sales of pay-per-views, and King of the Table wasn't doing better than East versus West. So Engin said that he always had a problem with Devon trying to cheat in the grip. He always tries to cheat. He teaches that in his seminars. He always moves before the go. And he puts the referees under a lot of pressure. If they don't succumb to the pressure, if they stand up against Devon, if they foul him, then he goes to social media, uses his fans as a weapon to to initiate a lynch against these referees, to try to get the fans to say a lot of hateful stuff about these referees. So this is why Engin said that if I was also like others, that yes, Devon is selling us a lot of pay-per-views, I should also look the other way. Then Engin thinks he would have also been a nice guy in this situation. But he isn't, because doing that would have gone against his principles. So first of all, I would say that I'm surprised that Engin gave a more calm and collective response than Devon Larrett. Devon looked a little bit more emotional than Engin Terzi, and it's a little surprising to me. And don't say that I'm trying to please Engin here or anything like that. You'll get to know about that later in this video. So then Engin also talked about Jodie recording some private conversations. He said that she recorded Babkan's conversation, she recorded Michael Todd's conversation, and she tried to record Engin's conversation as well when after that event Engin called Devon, or maybe Devon called Engin, and there was a conversation. But Engin was already informed by someone that Jody is going to record your conversation, and he said that Devon tried to get those words out of me that I tried to kill him, but I never said that because I never tried to kill him, and that's why they didn't come to a agreement, and that's why things stayed apart. So I would say that never trust these secret phone recordings, especially when the person being recorded isn't aware of that. Because if I'm recording you, then I already have an agenda set in my mind. I'm going to behave in a certain way that makes me look like the good guy and makes you look like a bad guy. I'm going to ask you triggering questions. I'm going to ask you selective questions that kind of trigger a bad response from you, try to put you in a bad image. So never trust these these secret phone recordings. And despite that, Jodie made herself look bad in the Babkan recording because Babkan clearly told her that no, I did not tell anyone that I want to kill Devon. I did not say that to anyone, and I don't want to do that. You should complain against anyone who told you that. Do that. I'm not against it. So that issue was resolved there. So, and since we're talking about Devon making a lot of money for the event, guys, Engin did share some details. He said that the lowest pay-per-view sales in the history of King of the Table and East versus West have been from the events where Devon Larratt was a main event. So I think one of them was Leonidas Arcona versus Devon Larratt. That must be that event because it was a left arm match. Nobody really wanted to see that because everyone had already seen their practice pull. I was so against that match happening. Maybe I was right. So he also said that the average pay-per-view sales per match is highest not for Devon. He's not even number two. It is highest for Levan Saginashvili and Denis Siplenkov. And then at number three, it is Devon Larratt. So these numbers can be viewed in different ways since Devon is competing more. He's competing against lower guys too, lower caliber guys too. That's why the average goes down. But that's what Engin's point exactly was. He was saying that Devon only sells a lot of pay-per-views when he's arm wrestling against a guy who can also sell a lot of pay-per-views, like Levan Saginashvili or Denis Siplenkov. So this doesn't really tell us that Devon isn't the highest pay-per-view selling guy. I think he is. But this does tell us that he's not selling twice as many pay-per-views as Levan or Denis Siplenkov. Maybe twice as many pay-per-views than any of the other guys like Hermes or Vitali or Michael Todd. Way more than these guys, but not Denis or Levan Saginashvili, that's for sure. So the pistol incident, we have already discussed that. You can judge it however you want, and the conversation between Engin and Devon to me still does not look like it. Nothing cannot be amended here. I think they can come to an agreement. They just need to ignore each other and then just start working with East versus West again. That could be the end of the story. And they did come to an agreement. Engin was saying that later that day, when Robert tried to convince both of us, Devon started crying and he started apologizing to Engin. Then Engin also apologized to Devon. They hugged it out, but then things fell apart again. So at this point, I'm not really sure what can be done about this, but I will still say one thing that with Engin, East versus West won't survive. I've said this before as well. I'll say it again. It can only work if Engin is in 100% control, the league will work fine. Or if Engin is in zero control, then also the league can work fine. But I think it will work better if Engin is in control. Because Engin is not the kind of guy that you can easily work with. Especially when you're the boss and you have to give him some orders. He's not going to listen to you. That's my personal experience. I shouldn't say experience because I wasn't the boss. I was working with him. I also don't want to say employee. Just I was working on the YouTube channel. But no, it's not easy to work with Engin, and Engin also knows that he cannot deny that. So this whole situation is weird. That's my take on this, and I hope they resolve it soon. I hope Engin Terzi takes rest, and I hope they figure something out. As I said in the last video, Robert Baxter, I think he's going to soon leave East versus West. The guy cannot lose hundreds of thousands of dollars from his other businesses just because he has half of his mind involved in this complete mess, what is called East versus West. It has become a mess. So I hope Robert finds a way out because I don't think he can make it work. Thanks for watching. Like the video, and I'll see you again.